Why has the Middle East become the center of one of the most dangerous wars in modern history? A war involving Iran, the United States, and Israel. Today, we're going back decades from nuclear talks and proxy wars to full-blown airstrikes and regional tension. Let's break down how this war began, why it escalated, and what it means for the Middle East and the world. To understand the current war, we must look back. Iran and Israel were once on good terms until the 1979 Islamic Revolution, when Iran became openly hostile to Israel and the US since then. Iran has supported armed groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, forces opposed to Israel. This set the stage for decades of proxy conflict, meaning they fought indirectly through others. So the real tension isn't weeks old, it's decades old. One of the biggest causes of recent escalation is Iran's nuclear program. In 2015, Iran agreed to limit its nuclear activities under an international deal called the JCPOA in exchange for sanctions relief. But in 2018, the US under President Trump withdrew from the deal, called it flawed, and reimposed sanctions. Iran gradually resumed uranium enrichment, which made many countries fear Iran was moving toward building a nuclear weapon, something Israel and the US have repeatedly said they cannot allow. This nuclear tension, combined with sanctions hurting Iran's economy, deepened mistrust and hostility. All this tension exploded into open war in 2025 to 2026. In June 2025, Israel launched airstrikes deep inside Iran, hitting military sites and nuclear facilities. Iran fought back with missiles and drones targeting Israel and US bases in the region. Ceasefires were attempted, but the conflict kept flaring. Then in early March 2026, the US and Israel launched a bigger offensive involving thousands of strikes on Iranian infrastructure, including leadership compounds, military bases, and nuclear development sites. This marked the shift from proxy conflict to a direct war. The human cost has been enormous. Hundreds of civilian deaths reported in Iran, including children. Iran launched missiles and drones at multiple countries in the region. A US submarine sank an Iranian warship as the conflict spread across the Middle East. Thousands have died and tens of thousands have been displaced or fled. This is no longer a localized skirmish, it's reshaping the entire region. So why are the US and Israel fighting Iran together? There are a few key reasons. Preventing a nuclear Iran. Both fear Iran gaining nuclear weapons. Iran's regional influence. Iran supports groups hostile to Israel, Hezbollah, Hamas. US strategic interests. The US wants to contain Iran's military power and influence in the Middle East. This is why the two allies coordinated their largest military buildup in the region in years. The war is already affecting the Middle East. Oil prices and markets are unstable. Gulf export routes are threatened. Air travel chaos. Many flights cancelled or rerouted. Neighboring countries drawn in attacks and defenses occur not just in Iran or Israel but in Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, UAE and more. This is a regional war, not just a bilateral one. World leaders are responding. Some nations like France and Oman are calling for peace talks. Others demand escalation to avoid a larger war. Economies around the world are feeling the shock from higher oil prices and market uncertainty. This conflict has far-reaching global effects beyond the Middle East. So, to recap, the tension between Iran, the US, and Israel didn't start yesterday. It has deep roots going back decades of mistrust, nuclear fears, and proxy wars. The most recent escalation began with strikes in 2025 and expanded in 2026, with thousands of military actions and widespread destruction. The war is now reshaping the Middle East's politics, economy, and security, and global powers are watching closely. What happens next could change the future of the Middle East. Comment your thoughts below. Does this war have a path to peace?